This is Abe Freetanzer from Awards Watch, and I'm thrilled to be speaking with Ben Schwartz about the many, many projects he's working on currently. How are you today, Ben?
I'm good, Abe. How are you, buddy?
Good, good. Before we get into what you're doing right now, I just want to mention I'm pretty sure the first thing I saw you in was Undercovers, that NBC TV
Oh,
show.
wow. Yes, Boris Kojo, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, J.J. Abrams, Josh Reams created show. Unbelievable that you saw that.
Yeah, I mean, and Gugu's done pretty well for herself lately. She's been in a lot of stuff. Does that show take up any space in your brain? Do you ever think about it?
I think about it a lot because it was like the first show that I did that got picked up to series. Before that, I had a pilot called Happiness Isn't Everything, which was Mitch Hurwitz and Jim Burrows directed it. And it was like, he just did Arrested Development, and it was me, Richard Dreyfuss, Jason Biggs, Mary Steenburgen, and it was going to be like, it was my first TV show I ever booked. I remember I cried when I got the role. I cried I remember I called my parents, and Allison Jones called me to tell me I got the role. Incredible cast, legendary casting director. And then I called my parents. I started crying, and my dad told me to pull over to the side because I was going to get into an accident. So and then I remember when I got Undercovers, JJ called me personally, and I like fist pumped. I don't, like how like when Tiger Woods hits like famous shots, he fist pumps. I'm not even a golf fan, and I was like fist pumping like crazy. So I remember the moments, the flashes in which I got them, and then learning so much. Just learn all those projects, everything is always learning, learning, learning. So absolutely, but you are the first person to bring up that show in an interview in maybe a decade.
All right. Well, that's a good sign for the start of our conversation.
Yeah.
So let's jump forward to the after party. I have so much I want to talk about. I feel like this role was written specifically for you. Do you think that's the case?
I know that Chris Miller sent me an email and said, I have a new show. It's a murder mystery. Every episode is going to be a different genre, like Rashomon. Your genre is going to be musical. And then he said that, this character, I had you in mind while writing this character for the show. So it was very exciting. And also Lord and Miller to me are like, they're the guys. They're on my top 5 directors to work with list. So it was amazing, and I feel so lucky. But you're right; they very much played to the things that I really like doing.
What is most different about Jasper from you?
Oh my goodness, he has the confidence to do a musical. What do you think the most? Well, I don't know how spoilery we can get, but I think there's a lot more. There's a lot more evil inside Jasper than there is inside me. Um, and I think that's probably the biggest difference. I mean, certainly the biggest difference.
What was it like performing that song number, the few song numbers? I watched the We All Get One Shot twice before this just to sort of get pumped up in the mood. What was it like doing all those numbers?
It was heaven. It was so cool. We got we got a vocal coach named Fiora who was amazing, and then we had a choreographer, Kat Burns, who did My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, who's like, these are like super pros, and so they were able to like take me through the whole process, and but it was so funny. Like I would sing and dance at the same time and be exhausted, and look at these dancers behind me who are like superheroes. And were able to do whatever they wanted at all. Like they did 100 takes in a row in high heels and in weirder clothes than I was wearing. It made me gain an enormous amount of respect for dancers and anybody who can sing and dance at the same time. But it was awesome. And Chris was not given a lot of time to shoot it. Each musical number was about a half a day, give or take a little bit more for extra bits. So it was like we had to be pretty down pat, and it takes a director who has a pretty clear vision of what he wants to do. And Chris had exactly that. It was really exciting. It was really fun. It was fun to see it edited afterwards and see that it worked out, because during it you're like, oh, I hope this works, I hope this works, and then afterwards when people reacted the way they did, it was very promising and exciting.
Yeah, presuming that was your favorite episode, do you have a second favorite episode?
Oh my goodness, I love Walt's episode that takes place at his high school. I love that episode. I also love playing the romantic character. I also love the finale. The finale was a whole other shade of everything. So but I would say Walt's episode. I love the idea that Walt's character is always kind of forgotten, always in the background. And then in his episode, he's still in the background and it's not even about him. I thought it was so brilliant to that writing staff and Chris to do that.
I think it's hard to pick with such an amazing cast, but is there anyone that you really particularly enjoyed working with or have a good short to share about?
Can't do it. Amazing. It was too amazing. I spent the most time with Sam, and it's, you know, a dream. It felt like we were best friends, even though we just met for the first time on this project. But everybody was incredible. Everybody could have been the star and has been the star of their own television show before. So it's exciting to be around that many creative people also, because a lot of those people create their own stuff or direct or write, you know what I mean? So it was awesome. But I will say it was really fun to be around Chris Miller as well, because Chris, it almost felt like he was performing with us. He was collaborating with us. He was like, best idea wins. Whenever you're there, whatever, however you can be creative, you look at Chris, you can kind of like build yourself up, and you just had total trust in him that if I did 100 takes and they're all bananas, he would pick the exact one that made perfect sense for that moment.
How much improv was there on the set?
The scripts were amazing. So we did the script always, and then he kind of let me go. He kind of let me do my thing a little bit, which was very exciting. But oftentimes when you see the show, it's what's scripted anyway. But he did. I think what's great about Lord and Miller is that they let you kind of go, and then they can bring you back if they want. But they let you go when they see that, you know, it makes the most sense. But because Chris was juggling so many very specific things, like, you know, this has to happen in this point of view. This has to happen in this person's point of view. This can't happen here because it didn't happen. So it's like he was able to keep us all in like the playground. We weren't coloring outside the lines. We were playing around, but we were always within the structure of what kind of he had in his mastermind.
We can flag a quick spoiler warning here, but is there any chance we'll see Asper again for season 2?
I'm not allowed to say yet because they haven't announced yet. But we could also flag a spoiler warning and see if you finish the season. Maybe you have an idea if he'll be back or not.
All right. Well, fortunately, while this is a great project, it's not the only thing that you're in this season, and I'm a big fan of
What,
space.
Abe?
I'm Space Force. Every once in a while, I think I laugh harder at that show than I do at anything else. It's really, I think it's anytime Angela like mispronounces a word, that to me like just got me going for like 5 minutes at a time. Talk to me about the
Tawny
experience.
is so funny. Tawny has been so funny for so long and has been performing comedy for so long. So it's super fun to see her do her thing. That show was amazing. I mean, for me, it's a me getting to work with Greg Daniels again, but this time in a more one-on-one process and developing a character with him. And then also one of my favorite things is watching Greg take a show from first season to second season and see how he can change the characters and play and like whatever. And also you could see the show kind of got looser by the second season too. We were kind of working within the guidelines of the stylistic choices, the 2001 stylistic choices we were making, a 2001 Space Odyssey type, you know, like space type show. And then by the second season, you could see that we kind of like we pushed those away and we concentrated more on the comedy and the relationships. And we brought in Ken Kwapis, who's a genius if you like television. He's and directing in general. He has a book out. He's, you know, he literally wrote a book on directing. He's a genius. He's worked on Larry Sanders. He's worked on The Office. He's a genius. So having him there just kind of like molded, and maybe you could tell me if you felt the difference, but molded the second season in a kind of different way, which was beautiful. And I got to work with Steve Carell, which is a dream. I think his character in The Office is a top, you know, character of all time on television. And John Malkovich, who like has become a friend and comes to my improv shows and is like the kindest. It's crazy. We all when we were shooting in Vancouver, there was a movie theater in the hotel I was staying at, and we rented it out one day, and we all watched Con Air with John Malkovich, which was like a dream come true. And then I just did a movie with Nick Cage and told him that I did that, and he couldn't believe that that was true. So it was a very big, fun, full circling moment. But Space Force is so fun, and the biggest thing for me was working with Greg, working with Steve, working with John. I mean, those are heroes. Also, Norm Hiscock, who did Parks and you know did Kids in the Hall and Brain Candy. So to me, being around like the elite of elite in terms of creativity is the goal of all this.
I also really like Tony's friendship with Chan as that,
Oh man,
season 2.
Jimmy O Yang was so good in this show, and beyond that, Jimmy wrote for the first time on a television show on this, and I think it's one of our strongest episodes of the season. He wrote the third episode, and he's just, I mean, special. And also, if you want to talk about special, we have Diana Silvers also, but Don Lake is like a hero. He's a Canadian treasure. I feel so lucky that we got to use him on the show, and then his role just kept getting bigger and bigger because if you watch the show, you can't stop laughing at him. Put him on screen more. We're only going to win the more you put him on screen. So Don was amazing, amazing. I love Don Lake and all the photos he posts of his dogs on Instagram.
I also think in terms of physical comedy, I enjoyed when you were so Tony was so attached to his phone in I think that was that first episode, just not even being able to let go of it. Is that hard to do? It feels like it must be.
The physical aspect
Yeah.
and letting go. I'm from sketch and improv, so I love a physical bit, and oftentimes I try to play always my characters at the top of their intelligence, and even though I'm a little bit wacky, I don't get to do that. But that was one of the first. I remember it was in one of the first scenes in the first episode, and I think it was like, we're going to show that we're looser in this season. We're going to show that we can play. So for that scene, they really let me go bananas. And it's kind of like shows you, okay, you can get ready for some of this in the show. Because we're going to play with things. We're going to be like, all that stuff. So it was awesome. I love that people are pointing to that scene because it was, when I read it, I was really excited to do it. And then like just playing, I mean, I milked that scene so hard and they kept it in, which was so nice because it was originally just a quicker little thing. But Greg and Ken saw that there's comedy in that moment if we milk it and look at everybody's reactions while we do it. So it was great. I love that you saw that scene and loved it.
Of course. And one thing I've talked to Greg about is the fact that all of the shows now are so short that I want more episodes of Upload, more episodes of Space Force. I mean, is there like a treasure trove of deleted scenes? I know that, used to be like the DVD special features. Like, can we see that at some point?
Dude, in Space Force and dude, in Afterparty, I cannot imagine the bloopers and deleted scenes in Afterparty. People didn't break very much, but there's so many talented improvisers in the Afterparty that I can't. I mean, I don't know if Apple does bloopers or deleted scenes. I don't think they do actually, but it would be one of my favorite things to watch ever. Just watching Jamie Demetriou or like Ike or Sam or any of those guys. Franco, like there's so many funny people in the show. I would love to see the bloopers and deleted scenes for the after party. I'm sure Chris has them somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Well, finishing up on Space Force, I know it took a while to get some official news about season 2. Do you know if season 3 is coming, is being talked about?
I don't know. Nobody's updated me yet. It would be hilarious if you were the one to break either the good news or the bad news right now. You're like,
I mean,
well, Ben, hey, it's me, Abe, and here I go. I'm going to
well,
say,
if we say
yeah.
it happens, maybe someone picks it up and then it's news and they have to make it, right?
I love working with those people so much. It would be a joy to continue working with all those people. And I have a feeling that if for some reason, well, hopefully it goes on for as many seasons as everybody wants to make, but I can't imagine a world where all of us don't play with each other in some fashion somewhere down the line. Because I can't imagine this is the last time I say Greg Daniels' words, because that would be so sad to me. But let's hope, because also I feel like the second season leaves itself in a place where it kind of is like a perfect place for like another season like this, like or like a movie, like because it ends with a meteor coming towards Earth, and it's like, all right, well, what are we gonna do? How are these bad news bears people gonna stop it? So it did. Greg did put it in a great place. Greg and Norm put it in a great place to see what happens for the next season. So I mean, how fun if we get to do an Armageddon season? That would be so fun.
Yeah, I did like that ending scene. I thought that was perfect.
You're very
So,
positive, Abe. You've been smiling the whole time. It seems like you really do love television and stuff. It makes me very happy.
oh, I'm so glad. Well, let's pivot just for a second. I want to ask you about 2 movies.
Yes.
I know that we talked about physical comedy before, but as we're doing this interview, Sonic 2 is really blowing up and doing very well. What is it like to have your voice out there but not your face?
Oh, what a great question. It's I've learned instead of like people someone would be like, "Hey, can I take a video of you for my kid?" And I was like, "Video's not going to cut it. They're going to be so confused. They're not going to understand." So I'll leave voice notes for kids. It's interesting because it's like it was a top, I think it was number 6 all-time domestic openings ever for Paramount. This is a studio that I've watched since I've been a kid, like bigger than the Mission Impossibles, and so the way they were breaking down the numbers for it was the biggest domestic opening in Jim Carrey's career. That is the most, that's remarkable. He's the biggest movie star forever. He's still an incredibly huge movie star. So it's like the fact that I got to be a part of that, I feel so honored, so honored. And then, how often is it that someone like, improv comedy person that like started in New York gets to be in a movie that's number 1 worldwide? I can go into a movie theater and like sneak in and watch people laugh at our jokes or be surprised at the moments. And so it's very surreal and I don't take it for granted at all. I've been working in New Orleans this whole time, so I haven't been able to like, I really like dropping in the theaters and surprising fans. And I feel very fortunate that we have such great fans. So I try to always make them know how much we care about them and how much we appreciate them, because everybody's like, oh, the fan, it's always because of the fans, but this is truly because of the fans. Because also, first trailer for Sonic, they like gave great notes to help our movie get better. So it's like, yeah, but the idea of not seeing my face, it's a very interesting thing. I have no problem with it because I've been voiceover acting since 2007. So the idea that maybe I'm, putting some more of a spotlight on the voice acting community is fantastic. The idea that Colleen's in this movie is something I'm really proud of and awesome, and she's a great, incredible actor as well as a voice actor. But it is interesting to be in like, the like number one movie in the world, and the poster is like a little blue guy. I'm like, that's me. No, no, really, that's me. For real, I do that voice. It's a very funny feeling, but I don't feel like I'm not like, oh man, I'm over the moon. I get to do a form of acting that I love. I get to be involved in video games, which I love. I get to be involved in the CG character and animation, which I've been watching my whole life. So I have no complaints, but it is a very funny thing, like because when you see like Jurassic World, it is Chris Pratt headlock dinosaur, and this one it's like it's me as a blue guy, but I've never taken more pictures with blue posters in my entire life.
It's great. I was at a screening at Tribeca a few years ago for Standing Up, Falling Down, which I
Oh,
really
Abe,
enjoyed.
I'm so proud of that movie. And were Billy and I there, or did you go to a
Yeah,
different screening?
you were there.
Man, can I tell you a story about that? We can talk for, I mean, I have 45 minutes. I'm sure you have to go, but we were at that screening, and Billy and I became very close from that movie. And, we're both Bronx, New York. I think he was born in the Bronx. He grew up in Long Island, but Jewish guys. And so we were there, and he's very kind to say that we're close. But to me, I see him and I see City Slickers. I see When Harry Met Sally. I see the person who hosted the Oscars every year when I was a kid. Like he was the Oscars, and and I saw Comic Relief, and I saw like so. To have him be at that screening in New York, we went to a fancy dinner beforehand. Me, my girlfriend, him, his wife Janice, and I think the director Matt Ratner was there. And then we went to the screening, and when a joke hit or a moment really worked, he would look at me or hold or like touch my hand, and it was like that was like a movie. That was like I'm looking at someone that I looked up to my whole life, and him being like, "Hey, we nailed that. Oh, that went great. Oh, this went great." Like, and he's like, "You see them reacting, and it was such a special thing. That exact premiere you were at was special, and I'm really proud of that movie. There's some real acting going on from both of us, and he oftentimes regards it as one of his best roles, which I am over the moon that I could facilitate in any way. But it was crazy to be the lead of a movie with Billy Crystal, truly, and very proud that it is in print right here in this, so people know it exists.
Yeah, I remember like I really liked watching, and then it did not so much happen with it after, and I was like always disappointed that I just thought it was so I wish more people saw it.
Yeah, I think it needs to get on a streamer, a popular streamer I think someone needs to, so we can like push it a little bit and hopefully get people to see what Billy did because Billy did something pretty remarkable.
Yeah. Well, I did want to ask you, is there a role of yours besides what we've discussed that you feel is the most underrated, is something that you really wish people saw or know more about?
I'm terrible at this. Um, I'm very proud of the after party because it was a challenge for me to sing and dance. And there's a lot of twists and turns. There's drama in it, and there's comedy. So I'm really proud of that. I am really proud of Standing Up Falling Down, what you just said. I wonder if I'm just naming the ones you literally just named.
That's
Whatever
okay.
you say, I'm like, yeah, I'm proud of that. I directed a show called The Earliest Show, which me and Lauren Lapkus starred in on Funny or Die. I'm proud of that because, I directed it and created it, and it's fun to take something from a little idea in your head to like a full on thing. And we got nominated for Emmys for that. But Falling Down would definitely be on that list. Oh, you know what I'm proud of? Middleditch and Schwartz, because it was the first time long form improv had a proper special. Like we had a special. Like I oftentimes when people talk about long form improv, they'll see like a bad class show and they'll be like, long form improv sucks. And I'll be like, no, well, you haven't seen, but for stand up, if they go to a bad stand up show, they can then go online and watch Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy, or they can watch, you know what I mean? They can watch Mulaney, or they can watch. So there's always an avenue to see the people that have been doing it for a while do it. But for improv, there's very little of that, if any at all. There's a TJ and Dave documentary, but it's not a full on thing. And so I'm really happy that for people taking improv at the beginning or people that want to get interested in improv, they can point to that special and be like, this is what I do. And also like, this is a fun way of doing it. Maybe we should do it. So I'm proud that we got that on the air because it was very hard. Everybody passed. Netflix passed at the beginning. We had to repitch at the end and make a deal with them to do it because we just wanted it on the air so bad. So those are the things I'm very proud of. But the after party has been, I mean, really special and exciting, and allows me to talk to you in fashions like this, which is new and exciting for me.
Yeah. Is there anything that you really want to try in your career that you haven't done yet?
Um, you know what? I That's a great question. I really want to do like this Renfield movie I just did was like a bunch of stunts for me. I play a real bad guy in this movie. It was really exciting and fun. Plastic Man, a superhero movie. Oh, the things that are still on my bucket list are like a Marvel or a DC type movie. To play someone with superpowers, like you know, I'm a nerd. I grew up with comics. I grew up collecting Marvel cards, and I love Plastic Man, which is a DC property. Love it because I think it could be like a Deadpool for DC. And then I really want to do a Pixar movie. My whole life I've been influenced by Pixar, and I want to voice a Pixar movie in some way. Those are like the things left on my to-do list. But also, I'm constantly like my bucket list isn't just my bucket list continues to grow. Like anytime I see it, like I want to do something with Taika, or I saw the Daniels, and I've been following the Daniels since I did music videos. I was like, oh man, to do a movie with Daniels, like the fun thing about being in a business that's so creative is that there's new people coming up, just like we did 20 years ago in UCB. So it's like Upright Citizens Brigade. So I love watching people kind of break and also still wanting to play with legends like Spielberg. So there's an unlimited amount of things I would love to do, and an unlimited amount of people I'd love to be influenced by and inspired by, and find the kindness. And so, yeah, I can do it forever. What should I do, Abe? You could pick. What's my next thing? If you could pick, Abe, what would you make my next thing?
Western.
Ooh, am I a Jew? The first Jewish Western?
I mean, hey, that sounds great.
Oh my God. By the way, I didn't even think about that. That would be so fun. I did not think about that. Oh my God, I have to learn how to ride a horse, Abe. You've already screwed me over.
I mean, you could be the guy who doesn't know how to ride the horse. That's part, it's got to
No,
be
I'm
a
gonna ride a
comedy of
horse.
some
I'm gonna
sort,
ride
right?
a horse. Abe, I'm gonna ride a horse. I'm gonna ride a horse. I'll figure out how to ride a horse. Can't be that hard, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I've done it once or twice. It's not great. So the two roles I think I associate you most with are Parks and Rec and House of Lies. Do you do you like that? That's like what a lot of people think about. Do you have a very strong association with both those shows?
It's funny, so I'm in Manhattan right now because I'm doing press for Sonic. I'm doing shows at the Beacon Theater this weekend. My improv, Ben Schwartz and Friends, my new improv show. I walk around and I realize that I haven't been walking around without a mask in a very long time. And now it's like, a little bit easier to do so outside. So, um, I forgot how sometimes people come up to me and sing at me or like, it's still the number one thing that wherever I go, John Ralphio is always, they either say John Ralphio or the guy. Oh, wait a second, you're the guy, right? And I'll be like, yeah, yeah, maybe I don't know. But John Ralphio, even like today when I walked on, I just like miss one of my favorite things to do in Manhattan is just put on earphones, listen to like Tribe or Tribe Called Quest or like '90s hip hop or rap, and then walk around Manhattan just because it's what I did, growing up. So I did that today, and a lot of people I got a lot of John Ralphios. So I think I'll always be kind of associated with that role because it became that TV show became such a mainstream thing, and then it was on Netflix and became such a big thing on Netflix. So yeah, I think I'll always be kind of correlated with that. And then there's a different group of people, sometimes financy type people, or sometimes people that like had Showtime that really connect with House of Lies, which is exciting and super fun. So I love that those two things are a part of my history, and also very much in what helps me grow up and be a better actor because being around Don Cheadle and Kristen Bell that's grad school. That's me learning how to do everything. That's me learning how to be a dramatic actor. It's me learning how to treat everybody on set, watching how Don treats everybody on set with respect and love and looking out for everybody in every department. So it's like that was my grad school. So I'm very proud to be part of that. And also, if you think about it, that show was done in a time where there weren't many shows where there were three generations of African American leads and people, you know what I mean? You had Glenn, you had Don, and then you had Donis. And that doesn't happen very often, and I'm very proud to be a part of that. And then if you talk about Undercovers, it's the same thing. Those are two people of color as the lead of an NBC show. That didn't happen, when that show came on the air. So I'm very proud to be in that part and they're they're these when I take these roles, I think about all this stuff and want to be a part of something special like that. So
Well, it's bad timing after that dramatic pivot, but after we having such a nice conversation, I want to remind you of something you probably don't remember, which is that we've actually spoken before about
when
10 years ago. It definitely wasn't Zoom because Zoom didn't exist then, but we did some sort of video thing for House of Lies, and Josh was on it, and Josh Lawson and some other press. And I was much
roll the
under,
tape, roll the tape. Do you have it?
I don't think I have a copy of the video, but it was brutal. You guys were very, very like, it's definitely not good for airing. There's a lot of cursing, a lot of that. But basically, what I described as the way that Clyde was to Doug on the show, that's how you guys were just like firing off. And like, I said a couple things and you were just shooting back. It was very entertaining, but like, it was a lot of fun.
I think the goal of those things was it where we were supposed to be in character?
I don't know, but we definitely didn't air it. And he was using his Australian accent, and I don't know.
So when we were doing press for that, a lot of the times they're like, do bits, like, make it unique and stuff like that. We were never rude to you in real life. I would never be, no way, right? We were just doing bits.
Yeah, it was just
Oh, yeah,
it was
okay, good,
very
yeah.
it was very very memorable.
Dude, Josh is one of the funniest people probably in the world, and an incredible writer and director. Josh Lawson is a remarkable actor and writer. And if you watch that show, also, he's doing an accent the whole time so perfectly. It's like, if I had to do that, it would be such a chore. Like, it'd be so difficult for me. And he does it with such ease. I will say, one of the things I try to do is whenever I'm doing interviews and stuff, I think about how many times I've seen interviews that they just feel like the same interview over and over again. And you being on the other side of this, surely you have a point of view on this, but it feels like, aren't there an unlimited amount of interviews where you come prepared, you do your job, you get the answers, and it kind of just disappears? Sometimes I like the idea of trying to make it unique or connect with the interviewer in some way, or like, you know what I mean? I feel like it makes for a better interview, and then people watch it, and then the information that we want to give them, like the questions you want to ask, but also like they're entertained a bit, and that kind of gets them to the thing. So I've been really enjoying playing with like Sonic has been a big way for me to kind of like play with the form of what those junkets are, or what we could do in an interview. Like there's an interview we did for Polygon where I couldn't be there, so they taped an iPad to somebody's head, and we had someone control their hands. And so I really like the idea of playing with the format. Does that connect with you? I'm assuming you've done millions of these.
Oh,
So what does it
absolutely.
feel like to do so many of these? And what do you do to kind of distinguish one from the other?
Well, I appreciate. I don't usually get asked questions by the interviewer, and sometimes I get asked like, and I don't have an answer. So this is good. But yeah, I mean, I like to connect to the projects that mean most. I'm sure, as I said, Undercovers is not something that you necessarily think about. But I always think, I don't even remember the last name of the character, but you used to call Mrs. Agent whatever. You would always refer to
Boom.
those
Oh my
characters.
God, that's still in my head. And my character's name, do you remember my character's name? I'd be blown away.
I should have looked it up beforehand. That's usually the prep I do. But no.
Hoyt. Hoyt.
Wait. Yeah, but no, I mean, I think especially with some of the shorter junkets, this is nice. Like I wanted to talk to you for half an hour. We're almost at that mark. I'm happy. You said you have hours and hours, so we can keep going for a while.
Yeah, we
So,
can absolutely.
but no, it's nice to hear about what you like. I think there are a lot of sort of standard questions, and especially with the junket ones where it's only a couple minutes long. It's usually just a couple it's same questions over and over. And so, especially that interview, it didn't traumatize me. It was just I remember a lot. I remember the banter
I
of it.
wish I knew what it was. I'm sure we were just trying to. Were we making you laugh at least? I think that was
Oh
probably
yeah,
our
oh yeah.
goal.
I
All
just
right,
like
good, good, good.
I may have like stumbled for a second. You're like, come on, Abe, come on, get to it, get to it. We only, but with a lot more expletives that I shouldn't say now. Cause I mean, we didn't publish it. That was probably my first video interview ever because
Oh, I
there
love
wasn't,
this.
so,
Oh, all right, good. As long as we were being kind and joking with you, that makes me very happy.
and it was after today, so no, but this is great. And you mentioned Renfield already. Is there anything else coming up? I have learned, don't ask people about specific projects because sometimes they can't say it and then you have to cut it out of the interview. But is there anything you can talk about that you do have coming up?
Renfield's the next one. I sold a movie and a TV show, but I'm not. Oh, you know what? The movie was announced. I'm writing a movie for Fox Searchlight for Sam Rockwell and I. Um, I'm on a new draft of that, and then I sold a TV show, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. But that's early days, so you never really know what's going to happen. I've sold a couple TV shows, sold an animated show a little bit ago, but I don't know if that's going to go. But this one, I'm so proud and excited for this one, and the team I have around it is really exciting, and the place that would air it is exactly the place I wanted. So we'll see. It's just I've sold maybe six movies by now, and it's so hard to actually get them made that I almost know not to say anything anymore because then people will be disappointed if it doesn't get over the field goal line. But sometimes what I tell people is that to pay me to write something is an investment of not much at all. But then to make something is an investment of millions and millions of dollars by these companies. So it's such a different jump to get paid to write something and then to finally get something on the air. So I'm aware of how difficult it is. But I've been acting and doing press nonstop for maybe 8 months now. I'm tired. I am tired. And so my first break comes May 8th after I have a live show. And then I'll just get to writing and I'll kind of try to relax and see what I want to do acting wise next. But in terms of acting, I don't know what my next acting thing will be, which is great, which is exciting because I have time to concentrate on writing. And then my hope is that maybe people will see some of the things I've done recently and they want to put me in something else exciting. And I'll get to work with some more people that inspire me, which is the goal of all of it.
Yeah. Well,
So that's kind of
yeah.
announcing something and not really announcing anything at all, but it means you can print it all.
There you go. There you go. We'll even publish the video. So
I can't wait. Oh, we should curse at each other then.
yeah,
Just
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
it's like the other one.
It was really nice to be able to reminisce about a lot of the shows that I fondly remember watching, and to get to have a pleasant interaction. Even though, again, I promised last time wasn't so bad either.
I know. I can't believe that you say unpleasant. I think you just mean it was like very. We tried to do a jokey R-rated something or other.
That's probably what it was.
It's got to be that.
No, it was. It was. Well, thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate it.
All right, Abe. So nice to see you again, man. I'll see you in another 10 years.
Or sometime sooner, maybe. Thank you.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.